Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm filming a top 10 books of 2024 because I love reading and I wanted to share some of my favorite books with you guys. I put together a list of 10 of my favorite books that I've read this year, and I'm gonna start from the bottom because we gotta save the best for last. So the last book on my list of 10 is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. Unfortunately, I don't have my copy with me because I gave it to a friend to borrow. Basically, it's a romance. It had a little magical realism fantasy element to it as well, which I really liked. But it was basically just about this girl, Clementine, who her aunt passes away, and she had grown up hearing about her aunt's like magical apartment, and she moves into the apartment, and lo and behold, it actually is magical, and there's like a 7-year slip, one could say, where basically the apartment like goes back and forth in time. I don't really remember exactly like how that happens, but it's obviously explained in the book. And she ends up meeting this guy in the apartment, and there's a whole romance situation with him, and the book basically just revolves around her relationship with this guy and her grieving her aunt and this magical apartment and like seeing how that all unfolds. And it was very heartwarming. I really liked their relationship, and I also really liked the unique magical element because I feel like not a lot of romances kind of have something like that in it. Next, book number 9. I also don't have this with me because it's on a shelf at my apartment at school, but that is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. So this was during my memoir era of the summer, and I really liked this book. It basically just revolves around her life growing up and the theme of love. And I kind of went into it expecting to be reading about a lot of boys, and while there was a lot of like romantic situations, a lot of the book was really just about her female friendships and kind of how she's found love through those, and that really resonated with me considering I'm still single. And yeah, I just really liked it. There was a lot of quotes that I highlighted. Once again, don't remember exactly what happened, but I did really like it, and I would totally recommend, especially if you're entering an era of girlhood, friendship in your life, and want to like not be thinking about romantic love as much, because that was kind of the whole theme. Next, book number 8, Spare by Prince Harry. This was so good. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did, considering I don't really know anything about the royal family. I kind of went into this blind, and I was very surprised by how much I liked it and how much his story resonated with me. I was never bored while reading this, which was also super surprising because a lot of this was honestly about his time like in the military, and I'm not really usually into reading about stuff like that, but for some reason I really liked it. Also, it was unique because he's not just like a regular celebrity, he's a part of the royal family, so there was all these aspects and traditions of being royal that I had just never thought of, obviously. And it was just a really unique perspective, and just overall a very well done book, very touching, really explained his side of all the royal drama that I honestly didn't really know about before. And yeah, I just really liked it. He also apparently has a narrated version on like Audible, I think. So if you're interested in that, I would have loved to have heard this in an actual British accent. So that could be something to check out too, but literally loved this. Next, book number 7, The Zodiac Academy by Caroline Peckham. Once again, don't have the physical copy because I've been reading these on my Kindle, and I'm actually in the middle of this series right now, which is also why I didn't want to put a specific book. I just kind of wanted to talk about the series as one book. I'm not done with it, so I don't know which one's going to be my favorite. And also, honestly, none of them really stand out to me as being like the best yet. Like, I just like the whole series. But basically, the Zodiac Academy is about 2 twin girls who live in the mortal realm. Oh my god, I actually sound like such a nerd, but they just have a bad home life, and then one day they get whisked away, like Harry Potter, obviously, and they find out that they're like the heirs to this whole kingdom of fae and like magical stuff. So it basically honestly is pretty similar to Harry Potter, but they go to this boarding school type of thing where they have to like learn how to harness their elements and their powers, and like there's werewolves, vampires, dragons, all this magical stuff. And it's honestly really good. There's so much drama, there's romance, there's love triangles, there's magic, there's like corruption. It's just a really good all-around series, like super addicting. Feels like I'm watching just like a really good TV show. It's kind of what I always wanted from Harry Potter, like more of an adult Harry Potter type of vibe where they actually go more into depth with the romances and just have some more adult themes going on. So I really like the Zodiac Academy and I'm really excited to continue. Next, book number 6, The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. This is the same author who wrote The Cheat Sheet, which I also really liked, so I definitely recommend both of those. But this was the one I read this year, so that's why it's on the list this year. But basically this follows Nora, who's a sports agent, and she ends up having to work for her ex-boyfriend who's in the NFL. The two main characters met at USC, which is where I go to school, so it did hit close to home for me. The whole premise is basically that she's working for him as his agent, and I don't really remember exactly how things ended between them, but he's mad about it and he tries to kind of make her quit. So he's just making her job really hard, but she's like a boss woman and she's like, no, like my career, like gotta lock in. So she just like really keeps pushing on. I think it's kind of like a Grumpy Sunshine type of vibe. But yeah, I did really like this. Also love the cover, and it's pretty short. It's only like 350 pages, so you could bang this out quick. Definitely a good summer read as well. Honestly, it's not even necessary for the summer. It just looks like the summer on the cover, so that's why I said that. But you can read it during any season. For book number 5, I have Magnolia Park's Into the Dark. Once again, this is a series, so don't start with this one. Start with the first Magnolia Park's book. But I love this series. I love this book. I honestly don't remember what this book is about specifically compared to the other few books in the series, but because I love this series so much and I read this year, since it came out this year, I had to put it on the list. It's kind of a Chuck and Blair type of vibe if you're familiar with Gossip Girl, which honestly should say enough. It's so good, so good. Like the found family aspect, all the characters, you just get to know them all so well. There's the Magnolia Parks books, and then there's also the Daisy Hates books, which I honestly kind of like Daisy more than Magnolia just because she's kind of been through more and she just has more of like she's just more of an independent woman in my opinion. But I still love Magnolia Parks. I love them all. I think I rated like all the books 5 stars. It can be a little hard to get into just because BJ and Magnolia are so toxic, but once you do get into it, you find out like all they've been going through and you just uncover more of their history and kind of understand why they're so toxic and why they can't like end things, and it kind of just all comes together really nicely. And there's so many side characters that are really meaningful and so much overlap, and just overall it's a very well done series and I completely recommend, especially if you like Gossip Girl and stuff like that. Book number 4, once again read it on my Kindle, Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Loved it. I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads. It's another like fantasy type of book. It's basically about this world where there's like people with powers, the elites, and then there's ordinaries that don't have powers, and they tried to like get rid of all the ordinaries. And this one main character, Peyton, she is an ordinary, but she's kind of like disguising herself as someone with powers because she's just basically impersonating a psychic by like being really like smart and recognizing patterns. And she ends up having a run-in with the prince, who obviously can't know she's powerless, hence the title. And then there's a romance there, and then she also has to like do these trials, which is obviously super hard considering she's against people that actually do have powers. So it's also kind of like the Hunger Games in that sense. I did rate Powerless 5 stars, so I recommend it. Now getting into the top 3 books that I've read this year. In 3rd place we have The Hotel Nantucket by Ellen Hildebrand. Ellen Hildebrand is one of my favorite authors. All of her books have just such good themes of like friendship, struggle, adversity, like I can't even think of it anymore, but all of her books are very character driven. So this one kind of just revolves around like a bunch of employees at this hotel, and it sounds like it would be boring, but I was literally never bored. All the characters are just so likable and have so much depth to them, and there also is obviously another plot going on. There's kind of like a murder mystery type of thing as well. It's not really the main point of the story, but that is kind of like going on. There's a ghost, someone was killed. Honestly, wouldn't have thought that I would like that ghost plot, but I did like it. Like she did it really well. And yeah, I mean, all of her stories, like her entire Nantucket world. It's all just comes together so nicely. All of the characters are kind of repeated in different books, and if you don't want to pick up this one specifically, I definitely recommend picking up one of her books, because a lot of her books have been 5-star reads for me, like The Perfect Couple, 28 Summers. You really can't go wrong, so loved that. My second favorite book of the year was Taming 7 by Chloe Walsh. This is also a part of a series, so it more speaks to my love for the entire series than this book in particular, but I did also rate this one 5 stars. I can't even describe this series because there's just like so much lore, and this is probably like the 7th or 6th book or something, but it starts with Binding 13 and Keeping 13, I believe, and it's with Johnny and Shannon, I think, and it's just such a good found family aspect. They're all at a prep school in Ireland, I believe, and it's like these rugby players and then this family with Shannon and Joey, and Joey has another set of books with his love interest, and then this is Johnny's friend Gibbsy and Shannon's friend Claire, and you can see them in all the other books, so everyone was like really highly anticipating this one, and this one was released this year. I think a lot of people were disappointed because they had such high expectations based off of just the build-up of these two characters and the entire series, but I thought Chloe Walsh did a great job, and I see how it could have been better, but I still rated it a solid 5 stars. So finally, what you guys have all been waiting for, my top book of 2024, and that is Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. I have a really pretty copy of this, but I do not know where it is, which is really disappointing. I loved this book so much. It's pretty hefty. I feel like it was like 400 or 500 pages, but I honestly got through it pretty quick. It's also a Netflix series, so maybe you guys have heard of it, but it basically is about Kate and Tully and their decades-long friendship. And once again, it's a very character-driven book. I think the majority of my favorite books are character-driven, and this book was just so good. It really just dove into so many themes of friendship, motherhood, which I also did not expect to care about considering I'm very far away from motherhood. I really liked it. And you basically just see the friendship of Kate and Tully from when they meet when they're like probably 13 up until literally they're like 70 or 80 or something, and it's just so good. You see boys coming into their life, you see how motherhood comes into one of their lives and changes their friendship, you see them go through hard times, you see them go through good times, and it's really just one of those books that teaches you a lot. I really took away some deep meanings and themes while also being super entertained and just enjoying the story overall. So that is why Firefly Lane is my top book of the year. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm kind of just posting whatever these days. I don't know, maybe I'll do more book videos, maybe I'll do more vlogs. Let me know what you guys prefer, but I love reading, so I love talking about books. I will link my Goodreads down below if you want to follow me and see all of my in-depth reviews and ratings. And yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.